know you did this in the 70s, but if you do the time mapping, the majority of women that are my clients right now are women that would have been using lard and blue magic to flat iron their hair. Today we are going to unpack how things like blue magic, lard, and grapeseed oil used during the flat ironing process leads to oxidative stress, damage to the hair shaft, even damage to the hair follicle, which leads to oxidative stress within the hair's follicle. This will lead to inflammation, which will lead to balding.
I am back! What it do, baby?
Grapeseed oil is high in linoleic acid. This is a polyunsaturated fatty acid. And it's important to understand that it becomes unstable under heat. When you press a flat iron that's at about 400 degrees against some grapeseed oil, those delicate oils are going to oxidize into toxic byproducts that are going to irritate the scalp. It's going to weaken the hair follicles, set the stage for folliculitis, matting, and eventually balding. So let's unpack this. Number one, before we get started, shameless plug, I wanted to let you know that there is even more being added to the growth cycle blueprint the end of this month. All of the 7-day challenge members, I have something for you. Now, if you email me, email right here, and this is the subject line that I need you to have, okay? You email me and you just say, hey Cyn, I need to get in, and then I'm going to send you a link, and all you have to pay is the difference. So if you've already joined the 7-day challenge, you don't have to pay the full price for the growth cycle blueprint. You just email me, we will send you over that payment link, and you only pay the difference. But I digress. Everyone else, link in the description box below. You can join through Affirm, and you don't have to pay in full the first day. You can pay for 4 easy payments. Links in the description box below. We'll talk about that more later. So what is grapeseed oil, and why does it even matter when it comes to heat? Now, I know you guys have seen it, or maybe not, on YouTube. I am not mentioning her name. I'm not putting her channel in the description box because I think that's like a really sensitive subject for certain women to lose their hair. So I'm not gonna put her picture or anything up there like that. If you know, you know. But there was one woman who's like, I guess I'll say like an OG YouTuber, and one thing that she always did was use grapeseed oil, and she would saturate her hair with grapeseed oil, and she would actually flat iron her hair with grapeseed oil. And today in 2025, she's completely shaved all of her hair off. Hopefully, I haven't checked back, maybe she's made another video and her hair has grown back, but thus far she has severe alopecia, had to shave off all of her. In short, the key constituents of oleic acid make it extremely really highly prone to oxidation, and this is anytime it's exposed to heat, air, or light. So understand that if you are using grapeseed oil in your hair, if you go out in the sun, if you get an extreme change in temperature, or the breeze, just a really intense breeze on your hair, anything like that, is going to change it's going to change the environment, which is going to trigger oxidation. So grapeseed oil is literally one of the worst oils you can use in your hair. So its thermal window is a lot different. Refined grapeseed oil smoke point is about 216 degrees Celsius and 421 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, most flat irons are going anywhere from like 200 up to like 450, or one flat iron that I have goes up to 485, but grapeseed oil smoke point is at 421 degrees Fahrenheit. This is something that you have to know. Again, holistically, it's not as simple as, oh, grapeseed oil has all of these benefits. It should not be in your hair. So a flat iron is going to put grapeseed oil at or really close to its smoke point on contact. contact. So it doesn't make sense. It's literally one of the worst things that you can do. You're literally cooking your hair when you do that. Now, I have a couple of studies within the description box within the blog post that shows you different studies where scientists put grapeseed oil under light at certain temperatures, and they observe these different things that happen with grapeseed oil under the same temperatures as a flat iron, or even temperatures lower than that. Now, oxidated linoleic acid on the skin is not okay. So studies have shown grapeseed oil, when it's oxidated on the skin, creates an entirely different form of oxidation. This activates the heat receptors within your skin. This drives pro-inflammatory signaling and pain within the scalp or the skin in general. Repeated exposure is going to equal persistent inflammation. So you're going to constantly have irritation and itching and balding, and you're going to constantly feel like you need to go back and use more oil because of the issues and the different things that you're going to be triggering just by using this oil on the scalp. And I love y'all, but it really irritates me when y'all be like, when y'all say things like, oh, I put it on my ends, but I didn't put it on my scalp. I'm not saying that oils are horrible. Oils are amazing carriers. So if you're using it for a treatment, for example, there are men who deal with certain balding issues, and certain products that they have, they use oil as a carrier to carry whatever that key constituent is that is going to help whatever form of balding that they have, right? But you have to shampoo it off. It's not something that lives there indefinitely, because once the key constituent has did its job, that oil carrier is just sitting on the scalp. So you have to shampoo it off. But most of you are adding more oil every day. You're adding more oil. You add oil more than you actually remove it. So that's an issue. You should be shampooing your hair more than you're adding product to it. By you producing all of these different lipids due to what happens after the oxidative stress, you end up causing an environment where your body is sending signals out so it can heal each other, which is causing more inflammation and more oxidative stress. And what does this do? It sends signals to the body. It sends signals to your hair's follicle, and it pushes you into telogen phase, or just out of the anagen phase altogether. So flat ironing your hair with oil like grapeseed oil is the fastest way to balding. It is the fastest way to your hair thinning. You are causing a chemical reaction that most people don't even understand. Oils are not supposed to be used when it comes to flat ironing the hair. Oxidative stress is one of the biggest causes, and when you really think about it, the majority of people that do things like this, you don't even think about it. You flat iron your hair with oil all the time, and then your hair starts thinning out and you start going bald, or whatever the case may be. You adding grapeseed oil, or you adding coconut oil, or you adding almond oil or jojoba oil to your hair, it'll completely escape your mind. Just because jojoba oil is the same like pH as our hair does not mean that you can add it to your hair to flat iron it. Because guess what, if you go heat up a skillet and you put that jojoba oil on that skillet, it's gonna cook some chicken the same way that any other oil would. These are the things that I need us to think about. So why does saturating the scalp in a grapeseed oil make it even worse? It gives it more fuel, more byproducts. Basically, that's the easier way of saying that is you give more food, you feed the bacteria, the yeast, and all of the things on your scalp more, and you give it more stuff to boo-boo out, and once it boo-boos, then it creates more oxidative stress on the scalp. It's just a never-ending cycle. Again, it is just the worst thing you can do. And the sucky part about it is you are doing it on the scalp. You're doing it right where the pore opens, right where the follicle opens. You're putting it in there. And then the one thing that you guys always say, oh, it's low on the comedogenic scale so it can seep in. Yes, that's a bad thing. That's not a good thing. It can seep into, obviously it can't get past the stratum corneum, but it can still get within that top layer of skin where the follicle and all of the things are. Next up, again, most people are not going to want to hear this, but if you have something like seborrheic dermatitis or dandruff and then you go in to see a dermatologist to treat it, what is the first thing you're gonna do? Let's not even talk about seborrheic dermatitis or just any type of infestation. Any type of infestation that you have, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to starve it, you want to isolate it, you want to try to suffocate it and cut off its air source, right? So if you have seborrheic dermatitis or dandruff, right, or any type of overgrowth of bacteria, like if you have seborrheic dermatitis or dandruff, you have an abundance of Malassezia yeast, right? So if you have an overabundance of a yeast, would it make more sense for you to starve it and cut off its oxygen supply and starve it, or would it make more sense for you to feed it and put it in a great environment where it can like breathe good? Like, which one would make more sense? So you answer that question for me in the comments, and then I'm gonna keep talking. So let's say you already have an issue, then you add more grapeseed oil, or let's say you have seborrheic dermatitis or dandruff and you think that grapeseed oil is going to be your solution. No, it's not. It's just going to make it worse. Why? Because the Malassezia yeast loves oil, so it's going to eat the oil, and then the byproduct, aka the boo-boo, is going to be oleic acid, right? And so oleic acid is the byproduct of what the Malassezia yeast eats after it eats after it eats the grapeseed oil. But the grapeseed oil itself has linoleic acid. So linoleic acid plus the byproduct oleic acid together, it causes extreme inflammation, which will worsen dandruff or seborrheic dermatitis or folliculitis, making it go from something that can be treated to something more permanent. All forms of dermatitis worsen when you use oils. They don't make it better, it makes it worse. And most people that go to dermatologists, you get confused because you have an overgrowth of yeast and bacteria. So you guys stop using the oils, you stop using the butters and the greases, and then you start using this thing that the dermatologist gave you, right? And as you use it, you're starving and suffocating these microbes that have been living on the scalp. The thing that's been causing the inflammation, the burning, the itch, and all of that, you're starving it and you're drying it out. You have to. So the scalp is going to be dry. But the reason that most of you can't get anywhere, right, when you'll say, oh, well, I'm not taking this anymore, I'm no longer listening to the person who went to medical school who can treat this with their eyes closed, my scalp don't feel silky and oily no more, and it feels dry now, so I'm gonna stop. That's the point. The oily feeling that you feel, that you think is how your hair is supposed to feel, that's not how your hair is supposed to feel. That's what's causing the balding, that's what's causing the itching, that's what's causing the thinning, that's what's causing the inflammation and all of the things. So when the dermatologist or the trichologist gives you a treatment to stop it and then you feel it drying out, that's normal. And then after you do the things that you're supposed to do, then the systems and the cycles of your body will reset. But you, my dear, are throwing those cycles off by constantly using grapeseed oil or oils in general in your hair. So again, things like pomades and greases and oils and butters, it ends up making it worse, right? If you look down the line, and obviously it's not everybody, there are some people whose geno beats it, right? But there are some people, mainly men, who used to do like the whole 360s and stuff, and you put a bunch of pomade and stuff to get your waves popping. Even some of the young boys is doing it right there. You're just following in footsteps. But over time, when you in your 20s and 30s and stuff like that, it's cool to do it. But most men, by the time they get to like their late 20s, early 30s, they start to lose hair and they start to thin in those spaces. Most people would take that and push it to genetics, or that's just what's supposed to happen in male pattern baldness. But if we look at the patterns and the routines, we can look at those things that trigger these forms of inflammation and reverse them. But I digress. We'll be talking about that in a video coming really soon. So when we're talking about heat damage and flat irons have been demonized for so long because the majority of women don't flat iron hair right. So for example, if you use something like grapeseed oil to flat iron hair, right? Like there's a woman who was on YouTube. I did a video a couple of days ago about her, and she said that she got a hot oil treatment. There are a whole lot of oils with really high smoke points, exactly like grapeseed oil is. Head over to my free group or my blog, whichever one I put it in. I'll put the link in the description box below, but I'll break it down a little further so you can see what the smoke points are of all of these oils are, right? But you guys are using these oils and things of that nature on the hair, and it's heating up within the cuticle and causing different hair shaft disorders like bubble hair and so many different things, right? And as a result, you have heat damage. And instead of you blaming the action of using a oil with a flat iron, then you just blame the flat iron in general, where in reality the tool is just used wrong. And it's a fact. I don't care what anybody says. Everything that I'm saying right now can't be scientifically proven. Check my blog. On my blog, I've left a couple of peer-reviewed studies because a lot of you like go fact check it, baby. I have the places where you can check it, right? And all of the nerdy little measurements out and all of the things. But it's really, really important for you to understand that you not flat ironing hair properly is what makes flat ironing bad. The flat irons don't give you heat damage. You using the flat iron with the wrong products is giving heat damage. Most people, like if you do that, or if you're using oil even after you blow dry your hair becomes weaker over time and more fragile. Oil in all different types of ways it does more harm than good if you're using it wrong, right? So we already talked about what it does to the scalp on the hair shaft, right? If you are using oil, even if you don't get heat damage right away, the fiber is getting weaker and weaker every time you do it. Most people think like, oh, I did it a couple times and it's good. Well, hair weathering takes anywhere between 6 months to 25 years to show up. The woman that I talked about at the beginning of this video, she was on YouTube for over a decade doing the same practices until the oxidative stress caught up with her. You could literally see it happen with your own eyes. Now that you know the science, if you know who I'm talking about, now that you know the science, just go and watch her channel from years and years ago and look at all of the different foods and all of the different oils and all of the different things put into the hair. Even if you decide to make your own homemade conditioner and it's made with oils and a bunch of fruit, when you just rinse oil out and you don't shampoo it out, and then you add a blow dryer and then a flat iron, oxidative stress, over time this causes balding and thinning. But everybody's blaming braids, everybody's blaming weaves and frontals, where in reality it's you guys thinking that you're doing something special and natural by putting damn oil on everything. You'll mess up the hair's keratin. You damage the cuticle and the cortex layer. Yes, you do, because when you heat up the oil, it goes past the cuticle and into the cortex. That's why you have heat damage, because girl, girl. And I tell you all the time, your hair being curly is for two reasons: the size of your follicle and the amount of disulfide bonds you have in the cortex. So if you use oil and the oil is heated up to its boiling point or to its hot point, the flat iron, then it's going to get within the cortex and break apart those bonds. That's how you are getting heat damage. It's the wrong tools. It's the wrong products with the tools, not the tool. This increases the porosity in higher temperatures, causing friction and breakage. Now, I have naturally high porosity hair, but you can have high porosity hair that's damaged, right? High porosity hair just means the cuticle is open. Your cuticle could be more lifted naturally, or you could have naturally low porosity hair, or closer to the low porosity side on the medium porosity side, and you can damage your hair and lift the cuticle in a way it's not meant to be naturally. But high porosity hair in itself is not damaged. My hair is not damaged, girl. Follicle stress and shedding and miniaturization. I just told you all about what follicle miniaturization is, so go watch that video. Many reviews show that oxidative stress and micro oxidation lead to balding and thinning, sometimes permanently. This type of inflammation has been found through studies to lead to long-term scalp disorders like alopecia areata, fibrosis, and miniaturization over time. Again, most of the time when we're here on YouTube, everybody's into instant gratification, and I've been the girl telling y'all that everything works until it doesn't. And unfortunately, in 2025, everybody is in that phase where it ain't working no more. So while grapeseed oil alone doesn't necessarily cause oxidative stress, if you in the house in a real cool temperature with your hair covered and you're not exposed to no intense light or sunlight or no harsh wind or no flat irons or no blow dryers, you cool. But why go through all of that? Just not put it on your hair. When we look through history and we see different civilizations that use oils, they use oils as carriers, and then they were shampooed off because they understood what happens when you leave those oils on the body. For whatever reason, we won't let it go like she told us to in Frozen. So one myth that needs to be busted is oil equals protection. Oil does not equal protection. Oils can reduce some friction, but most oils are really, really high in their ability to create oxidative stress on the skin and the scalp. The scalp is skin. Polymers and silicones have better thermal performance than oils do. Make sure you check the video link in the description box below. We had a full lecture on polymers and what they are and how you can learn, and the way that you can learn to use certain hair products with polymers. It's free, watch it. Now, there is a study that showed that argan oil, the pre-treatment reduces oxidative stress. A pre-treatment, not flat ironing with it, but like maybe like a hot oil treatment with argan oil. Studies on hair have shown that heat alone causes oxidative stress / protein loss. One lab study shows that if you use argan oil as a pre-treatment, it reduces oxidative stress. But that's not a free pass to saturate your scalp with argan oil. There are other studies that were done years and years and years ago that showed us exactly what you can do and how you can use certain polymers, certain silicones as heat protectants to not allow, that will not cause that type of oxidative stress. So you do not have to use oils in any way, shape, or form. And if you are going to do a pre-treatment to reduce the terms of oxidative stress, like there are some people who have extremely damaged hair, and there are certain treatments that certain holistic practitioners will end up creating that include a little bit of argan oil, and it'll be the pre-treatment, but it will be clarified out like they're washing your hair 100 times. making sure they get all of that out, because regardless of what kind of oil it is, when it's heated up on the hair shaft, it is going to cause oxidative stress. It is going to heat up and boil within the cuticle and within the cortex. So number one, you're going to keep oil, any kind of oil, especially grapeseed oil, off the scalp and off the hair shaft completely before the flat ironing process, before the blowout process, anything. If you just have to add oil because you have an oil addiction after your hair is blown out or flat ironed, then girl, go ahead, but it makes no sense. It's just gonna weigh your hair down. Your hair is gonna go from all bouncy and flowy to stiff and not able to move the second you put oil on it. So if that's what you want to do, do it, but it don't make sense. Number two, lower the temperature when you're using a flat iron and do fewer passes. Try to do one. The better your blowout is, the better the flat iron will come out. The one problem that y'all have, that y'all won't pay attention to, all the silk press videos that y'all have watched online, y'all need to pay attention. If y'all watch a silk press video from your favorite silk press artist, you will notice that the hair is almost 70% straight after the blowout, which should tell you that the flat iron is only polishing. You need to be more focused on mastering your blowout than you are the flat ironing process, and that's just that on that. Number three, use a real heat protectant, okay? Make it either polymer or silicone based. I have a full lecture about polymers and silicones. Go watch it, but girl, either a polymer or silicone based. Stop. Can I use this as a heat protectant? Do you think maybe I can use this as a heat protectant? No. If it don't say that it's a heat protectant on the bottle, you cannot use it as a heat protectant. Stop trying to make products that are not made to be certain product to product. If it don't say heat protectant, it's not a heat protectant. Number four, make sure your scalp is clean. Declutter your scalp. Take all of the oils and the butters and the greases off. Girl, they're not needed. You got a sebaceous gland. Think about it. God made a sebaceous gland and it literally has no other use than to produce sebum. And then y'all always talk about, oh, saying, if you say we can't put oil on our scalp, what we supposed to do? Unblock the follicle, huh? If something is going on, if it's a sink in your house, if you got a sink and it's supposed to be water coming out of the sink, and your water bill is paid, everything is paid, then you gonna call the maintenance people or you gonna call somebody to fix it, because obviously something is wrong and the sink is stopped up, and that's why the water ain't coming out. Girl, you got a bunch of tubes in your scalp. So if your oil tube is not working, then it's something blocking your oil tube, and you need to unblock your oil tube. But guess what? If it's a tube that's blocked, if your oil tube is blocked, is putting more oil gonna unblock your oil tube? I just want us to be talking some common sense. Can you unblock your oil tube with more oil? No. So why do you think that adding more oil or adding some type of product is going to unblock your oil tube? It's not. You need some Drano for your scalp, or you need to learn a Drano scenario for you to get it moving. And I love you very much, but I used to give it away for free here, but now it ain't on me. So if you want to learn more about how to unblock your hair follicle and get your sebum flowing like these women on the screen did, then make sure you sign up for the 7-day challenge or the growth cycle blueprint. Link in the description box. Make sure you check out a few of the videos that I have in the description box, because they are a couple of different review videos that talk a little bit more about the growth cycle blueprint and the 7-day challenge and what it is and how you could benefit from it. So I love you so much. Thank you for watching. Until our next time, girl, stop putting grapeseed oil in your hair. Like, most of the food that y'all put in your hair, y'all don't even eat. It's great. Like,